Well, I'll start with some of my framing, which you've heard. Maybe I'll see if someone wants to say some of the things. So I'm Rabbi Megdal. I want to introduce my team up here, which is, they're really we'll lead this together. But I'm very grateful for all of them. So we have Rebecca Gross, Deborah Ben Avram, Josh Lakin, and then we have the Cantro brothers. We have Jonah and Abe Cantro in our instrumental. Well, almost everyone over there is an instrumentalist, and so grateful for all of you up here. We call ourselves Yedid Nefesh, and that's also the first prayer which we will sing on page 10. So does someone remember what that means? I usually say Yedid. What does Nefesh mean? Soul. What does Yedid mean? It means like beloved. So Yedid Nefesh means beloved of my soul. So we have love, we have soulfulness, and we'll begin with a love song in just a minute. So a few notes. One is that we want people to sing. So I do not have a trained voice, and I always like to say I'll be the first one to be out of tune and to make a mistake. We want you to sing with us. So they have beautiful voices, and I'm going to model that you can sing anyway. If you don't know Hebrew or you're not that comfortable reading in Hebrew, this Siddur has in red transliteration on the left side. Almost everything we're going to sing together tonight is in English transliterated on the left. So please sing with us, because it's funny. Sometimes it's a little awkward to read, but please sing with us in the transliteration. 2, we're going to do almost every one of the traditional prayers we do on Friday night, except for 1 or 2 of the Psalms, which there will be plenty of time for you to dive and to recite on your own if that's important to you. So please don't let our singing get in the way if you want to do every single psalm for Kabbalat Shabbat. So we're going to begin. And again, a reminder that some people will come a little bit, in the first 10 or 15 minutes, welcome them in. And we're going to begin on page 10 with Yedid Nefesh, which is a love song. It begins, beloved of my soul.
Yedid Nefesh Al Harachaman Meshoch Avdach El Retzonach Yarutz Avdach Kemo Ayal Yishtachaver El Muhadarach Ki Yerach Lo Yedidutah Minofet Suv Vechol Ta'am Adonai Ziv Haolam Nafshi Cholat Ahata Ana El Narefana La Ve'haroda Noam Ziva Asid Chazek V'tivrapeh V'haita Lach Shivchat Olam V'ti'emu Rachamecha V'chusna Al Ben Ohavach Ki Ze Kama Nichsov Nichsav Lirov Tiferet U'uzah Ana Eli Machmad Libi Ushana Ve'atid Talam Higalena Ufros Chaviv Alai Etzuka
Beautiful, thank you. Page 11, we'll continue with Lechuna Ranana. Lechuna Ranana Ladonai, Naharia Letzur Yishenu. Nekad Mas Fanav Betoda Biznirot Naria Loki El Gadol. The bottom of page 12. Arba'im shana kut bedor va'omeram to'e levavheim ve'heim lo yadu derachai asher nishbati ve'api im yavoun el menuchati. Page 13. So you know this one. Sing this one.
Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz Shiru Ladonai Baruchu Shemo Basru Miyom Leyom Yeshuato Sapru Vagoyim Kevodo Bechol Ha'amim Niflotav Ki Gadol Adonai Ulam Meod Kol Elohei ha'ami elilim Adonai shamayim asa Hod behadar lefanav Oz letiferet b'mikdasho Havul Adonai mishpechot amim Havul Adonai kavod va'oz Havul Adonai kevod shemo Havul Adonai v'hadra kodesh Hilu mipanav kol haaretz Imru v'goyim Adonai malach Avtikon tevel ba'atimot Yadin amim v'mesharim Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz Yiram hayam Adonai kiva ad yishpot haaretz yishpot tevel betzedek ve'amim be'emunato yadai yadai yadai
into singing that I think we were singing maybe different parts with all of our soul. That's when you know you're really into it. Okay, page 21. We rise as we're able for Mizmor LeDavid. And since we're standing, we could do a little swing or a little dancing too. Page 21.
Mizmor leDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai, kavod va'oz. Havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, hishachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim. Adonai al mayim rabim, kol Adonai ba'koach. Kol Adonai be'hadar, kol Adonai shover arazim, vayishaber Adonai et arzei havanon, vayarkidem kemo egel Lebanon, veSiryon kemo eremi. Kol Adonai chotzet avotesh, kol Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, kol Adonai yechalel ayalot, vayechezo ye'arot, uvehechalot, kulo omer kavod. Adonai la'amo yashav, yeshev Adonai melech le'olam, Adonai yos le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. Yai, 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 yai.
I heard some extra yai-dais because people wanted to keep going. We could keep going in all of them, and then we would never get to eat dinner. So, it's a trade-off. Okay, we're going to take a pause to do some imagining. So, many of us lit candles on Monday night or Tuesday for Yom HaShoah, which was Holocaust Remembrance Day. We lit there's a tradition to light a memorial candle. And many of us will, especially in Israel, many of us speaking broadly for the Jewish people, will light a candle on Tuesday for Yom HaZikaron. So we would be Tuesday, which will be the Memorial Day, or I guess Monday night going into Tuesday, for Yom HaZikaron, this coming, yes, which is Memorial Day in Israel, for when we remember fallen soldiers and victims of terror. And then we're going to go into next week. We're going to observe on Sunday, but next week in Israel, on Wednesday, will be Yom HaAtzmaut, so which we'll talk about in a little bit more in a few minutes. But thinking about those candles, and in between, what are we doing? We're lighting Shabbat candles to start Shabbat, and we'll light Havdalah candles. If you do Havdalah, we'll light Havdalah candles in between. So imagining that candle and imagining what it means to remember and to mark time. So I want us to imagine that. And then if anyone has a memory or a reflection or something that comes to mind when you think of lighting a candle. So it could be lighting Friday night candlesticks and where that tradition comes from. It could be, we just had, on Yom HaShoah, we had Yizkor at the end of Pesach, of Passover. We'll have Yizkor again in Shavuot, where we also light memorial candles for those we've lost. So when you think of lighting a candle, we can imagine it, and if something comes to mind, I'm going to keep an eye out if anyone wants to share a thought. Yes. Thank you. Andrea.
I am remembering my bat mitzvah.
Your bat mitzvah.
Where we were blessed to have generations that were before me. So they all came, it was Americanized because it was my birthday candy, right? It was
Uh-huh.
like a birthday. A lot of us had to do that tradition at our bat mitzvahs. It's really lovely to feel that connection while you're
Beautiful. So at a life cycle moment for you at your bat mitzvah, when you were lighting, many people have a candle lighting ceremony, feeling all the generations around you. Beautiful. Yes, Michelle. You can if you want to.
So I also am thinking about my daughter's bat mitzvah.
Oh.
Right in this room. Actually, you were there. And she was standing right there, and it was Havdalah bat mitzvah. And so I'm remembering the Havdalah and all the community standing and praying with their arms around each other, and her face just illuminated by this beautiful light, and the lights were off, and it was gorgeous.
Oh, wow. So a Havdalah memory. I love this. So we're about 25 hours away from when Havdalah time will be. But a Havdalah bat mitzvah, and Rebecca was the Gabbai, which isn't surprising because she's a lot of the time the Gabbai. And all the lights down and remembering Havdalah. Beautiful. Anyone have a Jenna?
I have a question. What's a gabbai?
It's a good question. What's a Gabbai? So a Gabbai means that Rebecca was helping with the Torah reading, the Torah service, to make sure everything was running smoothly and calling people to the Torah. Yes, Marta.
My mom grew up in the colonies of the Baronte Kirch in Argentina. Her parents were very observant. My mother married my father, who wanted to assimilate. So my recollection as a young child was my mother going into the dining room and coming out with tears in her eyes because she had lit Shabbat candles
Wow.
by herself on her own.
Mm.
And it took me until the age of 15 or 16 to be able to light candles in the home.
Wow. Thank you. That's so beautiful for sharing. So a memory of your mother lighting candles on her own because of a family difference in observance, and that remembering what it was like for her to come back into the room very emotional after having lit candles. Thank you for sharing that. I never paraphrase as beautifully as you all speak, but I want to make sure everyone hears. Yes. No.
Sorry.
Mm. 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 Oh, we wish you a lot of comfort, and may his memory always be a blessing. Zichrono livracha. Thank you for telling us. Other candle memories? We can also just keep them Jay, was that? No? I thought I saw.
We moved into our house during that derecho. Do you remember that?
Derecho.
Derecho? How do you say it again?
Derecho.
Big storm.
Derecho.
The big storm.
The big
Where all the
storm.
power went
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
If anybody was in town during that time, and we had to use candles.
Oh, so a big life moment in your family.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, Deborah.
Wasn't shots. They were this big, probably.
Oh, another moving candles story. I love that. I love that. Thank you. Moving candles in Italy. Moving candles in Italy. Okay. Well, keep the candle feeling, in you as we continue singing. Lecha Dodi. This is. We've talked about, the theme of love. We're beloved of my soul. We're bringing in this metaphor of Shabbat as a Shabbat bride. So continuing the theme of love, Lecha Dodi, come my beloved, Dodi, another word for love, to meet the bride. Page 223.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ay, 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 lecha dodi. Ay, 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 likras kala. Ay, 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 b'nei Shabbat. Ay, 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 nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad. Nishmiyanu el hanochad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad. Shemo tiferet v'elitila. Ay, 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 lecha dodi. Ay, 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 likras kala. Ay, 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 penei Shabbat. Ay, 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 nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha. Ki hi mekor habracha. Merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh v'machshava tila. Ay, 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 lecha dodi. Ay, 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 likrat kala. Ay, 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 penei Shabbat. Ay, 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 nekabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha. Umitzei mitoch ha'afecha. Rav lach shevet be'emek havacha. Ve'hu yachamol alaychem lach. Ay, 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 lecha dodi. Ay, 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 likras kala. Ay, 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 penei Shabbat. Ay, 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 nekabela. Hinari me'afar kumi. Lipshi bigdei tikvar techami. Al yad isha ben halachmi. Marba el nafshi ge'ala. Ay, 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 lecha dodi. Ay, 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 likrat kala. Ay, 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 penei Shabbat. Ay, 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 nekabela. Hitorei, hitorei. Hiva ba'oref u'mi'ori. Uri, uri, shir daveri. Kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala. Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lo tivoshi velo tichami, ma tishtochachi u'ma matemi bach Yesu ayami v'ninata. Irati la lecha dodi likra kala pene Shabbat nekabela. V'hayim shisa shosai v'rachakun kol mevalayich yasis alayich Elohayich kim sos chatan akala. Lecha dodi likras kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Yaminu smot tifroti ve'et Adonai tariti al yadish ve'parti ve'nismecha ve'nagila. Lecha dodi likras kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi VeShalom ateret bala gam besimcha uvetzola toch emunei am segula. Boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We can be seated. I think it's so beautiful when we end and there's an energy in the room like we could have continued. So we'll we can decide how long we want to go in advance, but sometimes it just doesn't work that way. Okay. Page 27. This is the special psalm for Shabbat. The theme is gratitude. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai. It is good to thank you, Adonai. U'lezamer l'shimcha elyon, l'hakid b'boker chasecha ve'emunotcha b'leilot. Bottom of page 28. Od yenuvun besevad shenim v'rananim yihiu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri velo avla tabo. Page 30. Those in mourning or observing a yard site, please join me for a mourner's kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbi.
Amen.
Be'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam u'le'olmei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar, v'yit'aleh, v'yit'halal, shmei d'kudasha, brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. You can be seated. And now, in between Kabbalat Shabbat, before we begin Mariv, our tradition is to have a few words of Torah to share together, a little bit of Torah study. So we are just at this time, it's 7 o'clock, so we're almost just a few minutes away from a very special, complicated time of day, which is called in our tradition Bein Hashmashot. So literally meaning between the suns. Shemesh means sun. And it really means between the days. So that time, we can even look outside, we're just there, that time between sunset, which is just in a few minutes, and darkness. At the very end of one day and at the very beginning of the next day, because between is night, but in the Jewish day, we count the day starting with the night. So we're about to start Shabbat. We're about to start the next day. And this special time, this in-between time, is understood in our tradition. There's a teaching in the Talmud that I'm going to share, which is that it's a time of a safek. It's a time of doubt. It's a time of uncertainty. Is it actually still Friday? Or is it actually already Shabbat? So in the Talmud, we treat these times of uncertainty. I should tie this. I should make a bow. We treat these times of uncertainty, we defer to Shabbat. So if you ever wondered why is Shabbat 25 hours, essentially, it's because the uncertain time at the beginning, which we're about to start right now, we treat as Shabbat, and the uncertain time at the end of Shabbat, between sunset and between darkness, Saturday night, we also treat as Shabbat. Yet, of course, our tradition tries, especially in the Talmud, our rabbinic tradition, tries to find certainty. So they're trying to figure out very specifically, what is this Bein Hashmashot time? What is this in-between, complicated, hybrid time? So they ask, Ve'ezehu Bein Hashmashot? And what is Bein Hashmashot? So we have one teaching that describes very visually, and we can even see a little bit still of what Rabbi Yehuda will describe. When the sun sets, as long as the eastern sky is still colored red from the light of the sun, including when the lower segment of the sky, so imagine there are two segments of the sky. If the lower segment of the sky has lost its color, then it's still Bein Hashmashot, even if the upper segment still has color. But if both the upper and the lower segment, so if the whole thing has lost its color, then it's no longer this in-between time, and then it's night. Then it's nightfall. We have a few other definitions, which are fun, but I'll just explain them quickly. One is the period of time that it takes a person to walk a half mile after the sun sets. So however long that is. So whatever that means. That's a great example. And it's not, of course, it's not our mile. It would be 0.6 of a modern mile. Yeah. Rabbi Yossi says, twilight does not last for a quantifiable period of time. Rather, it is like the blink of an eye. Night enters and day leaves, and it is impossible to calculate due to its brevity. So whatever we decide, there is still, whichever opinion, however we think about it, there's uncertainty at this time of day. There's uncertainty about whether it's really still the end of the week or whether it's really still Shabbat. So I want to share that there's a teaching from Dr. Ilana Stein-Hain, who is an amazing scholar at the Hartman Institute. And she compares this uncertain, mixed time with another uncertain mixed time, which I alluded to earlier when we were talking about candles, which is that we are in between times of mourning and times of celebration on the Jewish calendar. So we've had Yom HaShoah. We're going to have Yom HaZikaron. We had Holocaust Remembrance Day a few days ago. We're going to have Memorial Day in Israel, which we will honor and we will mourn the loss of fallen soldiers and victims of terror, Yom HaZikaron. And then immediately the next day will begin in a similar transition as the one we have right now. We'll transition into the celebration of Yom HaAtzmaut in Israel, of Independence Day in Israel. So when we think about that intensity, I don't even know how we try to hold all of it. We think about mourning for Yom HaShoah, mourning in that intense way that even the magnitude is hard to even talk about for those we lost in the Holocaust. And then we think about, we struggle to even comprehend that number. And then thinking about what it means to keep losing people. So to be, if we were in Israel today, and we all have different connections to people who live in Israel, of course, but to know that you could keep losing, we keep losing people, and we could keep losing people. And I remember the year I lived in Israel, I attended one of the Yom HaZikaron ceremonies, and to hear people speak about very recent losses, either that year or the last few years, a different kind of mourning. So mourning a long time, still in some of our lifetimes, but a long time ago for the Holocaust, and mourning in sometimes just the last few days or months or years for Memorial Day. And then transitioning to celebrating a holiday that where we celebrate freedom and we celebrate dignity and we celebrate the responsibility of having a Jewish state. So, with all of that, I hope that we can honor the uncertainty and find a way to hold it and find inspiration in the idea of mixed time. This is that. This time of day, when we're moving it into Shabbat, this is that mix of emotions, that complicated mix of emotions of what is it? What are we supposed to feel? So I hope that having that together and that this gathering tonight is a way for us to do whatever it is we're doing in that mixed place together, so we can have Bein Hashmashot together as we really move into Shabbat shortly. So officially, we're going to call for Shabbat with the Baruch Hu as we begin the Ma'ariv service. We're on page 39A.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed. Baruch Adonai.
Can be seated.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamidim loch aleinu leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai, Amari v'rami.
Page 40.
Avat olam Beit Yisrael Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim mishpatim otanu limadeta Akein Adonai Eloheinu v'shocheinu v'chumeinu nasiach b'chukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגן יומם אהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Page 42. והיה.
Adonai Elohechem emet. Page
43A. Now 44.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה זה אלינו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 45, Hashkiveinu, our prayer for peace and protection before sleep.
Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Ushmor tzedkeinu uvoeinu lechaim u'shalom me'ata v'ad olam. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. 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 Ushmor
Mortzeitenu vo'enu l'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata ve'yad olam. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai. Hapore sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim.
Amen. We rise as we're able, page 46. And this is another one where if you get into it, you could dance a little.
VeShamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ידי ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
We can be seated, Chatzi Kaddish, or we don't have to be seated, but Chatzi Kaddish on page 46, going into the Amidah immediately.
Yikadal ve'yikadash shemei Rabbi be'amad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael b'gala u'v'zman kariv ve'imeru amen Yehi shmei Rabbi mevarach le'alam u'al me'al maya Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitalev, V'yitalal, Shemei dekudesha brichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran be'alma, V'yimeru, Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imru Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ve'imru Amen.
Page 53, we rise as we're able for Vayechulu Hashemayim.
Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayikadesh Shoto Kivo Shabbat Mikol Melachto Asher Bara Elohim Lasot Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Agadol Hagibor Ve'Adonai El Elyon Konesh Shamayim Va'aretz Magen Avot Bidvaro
Bottom of 53.
Metim Ve'Mamaro Ha'el HaKadosh She'ein Kamohu Hameniach Le'amo Beyom Shabbat Kodsho Kivam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem Kivam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem Lefanav Navod Be'irav Afachad Venodeh Lishmo Bechol Yom Tamid Mehon HaBrachot El HaHodaot Adon HaShalom Mekadesh HaShabbat Umarech Shevi Umeniach Bikdusha Le'amedu Shnei Oneg Zecher Lemase Bereshit Eloheinu Eloheinu Retzevim Nuchatenu Kadshenu Mitzvotecha V'tein Chelkeinu B'Toratecha Sab'enu Mituvecha V'samchenu B'Shuatecha V'taher Libeinu Le'ovdecha B'emet V'anchilenu Adonai Eloheinu B'Ava Uvratzon Shabbat Kodshecha V'yanuchu Yisrael Mekadshe Shemecha Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat Yikadal v'ikadash shemei Rabba Be'alma divrachi rute V'yamlich malchute B'chayechonu v'yamechonu v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael B'galau v'zman kari V'yimru Amen Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach Le'alam ulal me'almaya Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei dekudesha brichu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma Ve'yimru Amen Tikabel tzlotonu v'aotonu chol Yisrael Kodam avuhoni v'ishmaya Ve'yimru Amen Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'yimru Amen Oseh Shalom b'himromav Yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'yimeru Amen.
Kiddush, page 55. You're leading the two of you. The two of you are up. Okay, we're going to do it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzav banu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim
Kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'vratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen.
You drink. You made the kiddush. You can do it. It's grape juice. It's grape juice.
It's grape juice.
Okay.
Ross.
Don't finish it.
This is weird.
Good job. The next thing we're going to do is very special. We're going to count the Omer. So page 63. You don't have to. Yes.
I drink it up.
Thank you. Very good job. V'yasher koach to Jenna. Absolutely. We're going to count the Omer. Okay, so page 63. And this is the thing we do. We're going to say the blessing, and then we're going to count. And so we can't count before we actually count. So I'm going to say last night was 15. So we're going to do the next one, right? You can figure it out. Okay. Page 63, we'll say the blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Hayom shisha asar yom shehem shnei shavuot u'shnei yamim la'omer. Today is 16 days, 2 weeks, and 2 days of the Omer. Very nice. And now, I don't know how we figured this out, but it turns out it might be somebody's birthday today. Very important person who has 2 grandsons who are up here playing music with us. So the Cantro sons, grandsons are up here, Abe and Jonah, and we want to sing happy birthday to Marta Wassertzug. Yom Huledet Sameach.
Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach.
Happy birthday, Yom Huledet Sameach. Okay. Unless there's any other birthday. If there's another birthday, we could do it again. But we're we're happy to celebrate with you, Marta. Aleinu, page 56.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'teit gedula leotzer breshit shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem vegor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim umishachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shenu teshamayim al kena kavela ki laqati Kakatu b'Toratecha Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo echad.
We can be seated. We're going to remember our yard sites for this week. And if anyone wants to prepare for the song that's coming up, we can also do that as quietly as possible. We remember this week Thelma Paul, Simon Spivak, Leora Goldberg, Ruth Korb, Richard Sodakow, Louis Lerman, Louis Prague, Elaine Tannenbaum, Murray Elias Jarvik, Nancy Nepo, Miriam Metzger, John Trauberman, William Ginsberg, Ilse Stein, Melvin Krause, Sophia Haber, and A. Abba Koblenz. We also extend condolences to Samantha and Dan Bender on the death of Samantha's uncle and Holocaust survivor, Abraham Bichler, great uncle to Ethan and Rebecca. And we remember those. And also, would you tell us you mentioned that your brother, your cousin, I'm sorry, what is his name? We can remember him too. Michael Rolnick, may his memory also be for a blessing. We remember those in the Shloshim period. We're in the Shloshim period after the loss of Barbara Smith Pomerantz, Lee Simowitz, Sharon Dickstein, Rabbi William Rudolph, Faye Rabinowitz, Paul Lieberman, Eugene Jackson, David Abraham, Roberta Mazo, Bernice Tillman, and then Abraham Bichler. Join me in the Mourner's Kaddish on page 58 if you're in mourning or observing a yard site. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divira kirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ule'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar, v'yit'aleh, v'yithalal, shmei dekudesha brichu. Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. We can be seated. So my big message before our final song together is big thank you to our team on the Bima here. I'm so grateful to all of you. Happy birthday to Marta. And I'm so grateful also to everyone who made this possible. So our staff, so Pam Kocher in our office, our sound tech, Ethan, who's been wonderful. Deb Geiger's also in the back of the room if you want to introduce yourself and meet her. So thank you to all of our staff. There's an oneg next door. Afterwards, we call that sometimes Jenna cookies once in a while because she requested the cookies. Please come next month, which is May 19th, and bring your friends. That will also be the religious school confirmation Shabbat. So it'll be a joint celebration. Now we're going to sing Shalom Aleichem, which is on page 5. And please take a shaker if you're open to it. We're going to pass them out so that everyone can kind of get into it. There are shakers somewhere being passed out.
No, there are. Yes. I need my shakers back. Don't walk out here with my
Page 5.
shakers.
Let's go. Okay.
Okay, ready? You can. So young people, if you want to come up to the front. Shalom Aleichem,
Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Dai dai dai. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Dai, 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 Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yai da 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 da, ya 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 da 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 da,
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.